This is David Guth, CEO of Centerstone of America, and we are here today to celebrate the joining of our missions and our 60-year legacy as community mental health and addiction centers. So that's why we're here, and we have with us today Congressman Vern Buchanan, who from the very moment that he ran for office toward this building expressed a concern about the challenges that families face with mental health and addictions. He has co-sponsored with Congressman Murphy a bill to reform mental health at a national level. He has shown a great interest in supporting veterans and families in their mental health issues. So we are very pleased today to have not only our congressman, but one of our finest advocates for families with mental health and addictions challenges.
Well, I'm very excited to be a part of the 60th anniversary, and I've watched this young lady over the last 8 or 9 years and her leadership and what she's meant to this community and this institution and the board. So it's incredible. I know that we need more facilities, more beds, and more professionals. We do have, she mentioned a bill, I've had Congressman Murphy here in our community. We've been doing the same thing for the last 50 years. Since JFK, believe it or not, in 1963. The federal government, your tax dollars, we spend $125 billion a year. But our goal is to take that, not to spend more, but take the $125 billion and look at how we can better spend it in terms of best practices and other things that we can do. We work very closely together, just as a side point, in terms of the prescription drug problem. I had members of Congress from Kentucky telling me their kids were dying in the street because it was so easy to get those prescription drugs in Florida 6, 7 years ago. I had 3 mothers come in where they lost their children here locally to prescription drugs. We had 1,300 pill mills. We had no database. We've made a lot of progress on that, and unfortunately what's happening now, it sounds like what I've read in the press and other stories, they're moving more to cheaper drugs, to heroin and other things. So to have something like this, have a facility like this, and this great new partnership, we're glad to see that you guys have hooked up. You got a real gym and a real asset here. But I want to do everything I can to fight to make sure we get more resources and more dollars. And everybody in this room, I know in my case, is got a family member or somebody else that's battling with mental illness and the challenges that come along with it. And I guess there's a percentage, 1 in 10, that somehow get impacted or have certain personalities that they get impacted with it. I'm not a professional in that area, but my sense is we're going to do everything we can to help you make a difference. And I'd like to see this be much more substantial. It's very substantial, but help get it to the next level with funding in Washington and get these dollars better deployed so we can have a bigger difference, make a bigger difference, not just in Manatee County, but all the various states that you guys are in. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Buchanan, and also your staff who are wonderful to us and always responsive. I would like to invite everyone now out to the lobby for the official ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce. Bob Bartz is here, and Jackie Dzelski, and maybe others who I haven't noticed. And so we're just going to troop on out to the lobby, and Congressman Buchanan and David Guth and myself will cut the ribbon on our announcement and our launch and our celebration. So please join us.
accomplish even greater things together than we could individually. It's really a pleasure to be in this community, to be part of the work that's being done here. And Mary, thank you for including me today. And Congressman, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your support for our work too. Thank you.
Let me just say, because I praised Mary, but I also want to thank the board members, because I know they put a lot of energy in, and the staff and the volunteers and everybody else, and of course the chamber does a magnificent job. But I know how much your partnerships in the community with the police department, the sheriff's department, the fire department. Everybody. Oh, there he is. We got the sheriff here, the next sheriff. But the point is that this has really been a team effort in Manatee County. I think you've got a great partnership and a great future, but there's a lot more that we need to do together, and I'm committed. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Manatee Glens has officially become Centerstone. We are part of a much larger organization nationwide in several states. And even though we're much bigger, we will be providing the same services to the community that we always have. We will always be looking at our community, finding out what our community needs, and trying to provide those services in mental health and substance abuse. So the biggest issue for us is always funding. The demand for services is always much greater than the funding that's available. And, you know, our county is really fantastic in trying to meet the needs. The state government, the federal government try. There just isn't always enough money available. But the biggest need in our community currently that we've been speaking a lot about is our heroin epidemic. So ever since the pill mills have been shut down very successfully, people are turning to cheaper, easier to obtain drugs, and one of those is heroin. And unfortunately, the heroin that is available has another drug in it called fentanyl. And the result is that there's been a huge increase in overdoses. I believe the emergency medical services stated that it's been over 1,000% as far as the number of calls they've had to go on in response to overdoses. And we've also seen an increase in deaths from those overdoses as well, unfortunately. So one of the exciting things that we're doing is we're actually trying to add beds to our hospital in response to the need for detoxification and rehabilitation services for substance abuse. We have the support of a much larger organization to be able to make sure we are providing the best services available, whether that means additional beds like what we're adding, or the best possible clinical services because we have additional resources for training for our staff, and making sure that we provide evidence-based practices. So evidence-based practice is like the industry standard for what's best for whatever issue a person might be experiencing, whether it's depression, anxiety, or substance dependence.
Hello, I'm Mary Ruiz, CEO of Centerstone of Florida, and with me is David Guth, CEO of Centerstone America.
Hello, Mary. It's good to be here.
Yes, and also board chair of Centerstone of Florida, Tim Knowles. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Mary. Good to see you.
So we are here at a ribbon cutting for Centerstone, celebrating 60 years of service, both here in Florida and nationally. So where are all the locations that Centerstone serves, David?
Well, you know, Mary, our primary footprint, Florida, South Central Illinois, Middle Tennessee, and South Central Indiana. But we also have a network of therapists in 42 states.
And those serve a very special population, do they not?
They do. We are very fortunate to serve men and women who have served this nation in uniform and their families. So if somebody's in crisis anywhere in the country, even outside of our 42 states, we will serve them free and confidential. And if we don't have a therapist in the area, we will find one that is qualified to help them. And by the way, that is all possible because of the wonderful support we get from the Wounded Warrior Project.
It's a wonderful service. And if you go on the Centerstone website, you can get more information about that.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Knowles, this is my immediate boss, my board chair, also corporate counsel who helped us final the affiliation with Centerstone. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and what spurred the board to seek that opportunity?
Well, Centerstone has a national reputation for providing mental health and addiction services, and it was just an opportunity for Manatee County to dial into that bigger picture and process and assets to bring better mental health and addiction services in Manatee County. The technical affiliation was a process that we all worked through, and it's resulted in a very smooth transition, and we're on to bringing those bigger assets to assist life in Manatee County.
That sounds great. And so I'm going to ask David what his prognostication and his vision is for the future.
Well, I can tell you this, what we have found every time we have gone through an affiliation like this, and again, this is the 15th organization to marry into the Centerstone family, is what we found is that there's been an opportunity to grow services both within this area as well as to help. One of the things we're looking for is Centerstone of Florida to help bring some of its services to the other communities that we serve in our other states. So we're looking forward to the expansion of services both here and elsewhere in the Centerstone footprint.
And that's good news to hear because the needs in our community keep growing. And with the Centerstone affiliation, we're going to grow to meet those challenges and those needs. Today, we had with us many of our community partners, Turning Point, the Homeless Day Center. We had Rick Wells from the Sheriff's Office. Palmetto Police was here, the county, the Chamber, so many of our partners. We could not provide support to our community without those partners. And so my heart is really full today. I'm feeling great about this, and we're really pleased to be able to celebrate 60 years of service. Here's to the next 60 years, right?
All right, 60 more.
Here we go.
Yes.